Well, hey mamas. Hello. Welcome to another video about academic red flags for your teen. Our focus today, our red flag of the day, is going to be that email, that call from the teacher. I want to say that email, something not pleasant, something that you really don't want to hear. You don't want to hear that your child is failing a class, that test went really badly, whatever it is. We don't want that email from the teachers, all right? Now, let me know if you can agree with that we never want to get those emails, those phone calls. And if you want to share, if you've got one of those this semester already, I'd love to know. Because I got to tell you, my sister and I, complete opposites when it came to school. So phone calls, emails for the teacher, for me, never happened like that. My sister, on the other hand, different story. But do know, if your teen's a little like my sister and you've gotten more calls, emails than you care to get about such not good things, then consider grabbing my homework buster. It's 5 tips to bust through your teen's homework objections. The link's in the description for you to grab. I encourage you to hang out for the video and then grab that, but you know it's there waiting for you. All right, so this phone call happens, okay? The teacher says, whatever the teacher's going to say. Failed class, failed test, teacher's worried, about to fail, about to have to retake the class, whatever it is, do know the teacher's calling for a reason. Okay, that's part of the reason it's such a red flag, is that teachers would love to call with good news, but you and I both know, hopefully, mamas, that teachers generally don't have just like 20 kids. Like elementary kids, there should be elementary teachers, they don't have a set number of kiddos, but middle school, high school, college teachers, they've got hundreds of kids, all right, hundreds of students. So there's no way for them to call you all the time about everything, okay? No. So that means that teachers, I can tell you that our mama was a teacher, has been a teacher lots of times, and it was required of her to call when kids were failing. And, as you probably saw in the email not too long ago that I shared, that some teachers take that to mean, and let kids all get a 50% or a certain level of percent that they can't go below. So that way they have a smaller fail list to call. But your teachers are calling for a reason. Okay, that's like the most important thing to say, is just that they have so much time before school, after school, during their plan period, between meetings, between all of it, let alone, teaching your kids to actually make that call. So it's important. If your kids' teachers call, then we got to figure out, okay, well, what's the reason for the call? Like, get as much information as you can, because it could be that one test went really badly, but that test could be, the only test, or it could be severely weighted in that class, and so your teen's grade was so-so, and then all of a sudden it's really bad. All right, and maybe your teen just hasn't turned in any homework, okay? Or maybe your child is just literally in class, not saying a word, not moving a muscle. That's kind of a very different situation than failing one test, okay? So when the teacher calls, A, it matters because limited time, and 2, the fact is, okay, this is an opportunity. What can you possibly learn from the teacher about what's going on to cause your teen to have that failing grade? How can we, how to take advantage of this red flag right now and see if we can turn things around in time? Okay, so we're going to talk here about study skills, because remember, the red flags always let you know your teens are missing study skills. And unfortunately, teachers just don't have time to teach study skills in school. I mean, they have to get through all this curriculum, all these standards, all those requirements. So that's why it becomes essential for your teen to know how to learn. Let's talk about that more in a second. Before I do, thanks for joining me here on Facebook. Thanks for joining me here on YouTube. You're on the Ace Cookie Tutoring page and channel, because I'm the CEO and founder of Ace Cookie Tutoring. My name's Jessyka Coulter, and if we haven't had a chance to meet, thank you so much for being here. And I hope you subscribe. I hope you follow, since there'll be more videos coming your way all about learning, all about school, all about teens, and all things related to study skills. All right? So we talked about that call being important. We talked about finding out what the reason is for the call and how we can use that to your advantage, how we can use that to your teen's advantage. Okay? Now, when your teen's teacher calls, do know if one teacher calls, there's a chance that there's more calls coming. Because we talked about before, unfortunately, how confidence breeds confidence. And we've also talked about how failing grade can kind of snowball, or that one particular subject going really badly, again, can have ripple effects. So I encourage you, if you get a phone call from one teacher, to really check in with the others. Okay, find out, okay, is math like a D and the teacher hasn't called just yet because it's not failing, or, is English like really, really good and you're never going to hear from the English teacher because your teen does really well in that class. So you got to figure out where everything is, because that's part of the plan of attack. Because when we get that phone call from your teen's teacher, I encourage it not to be a secret. Okay, your teen could have said this class is not going well, and instead you got the phone call. Okay, so I encourage, find out what other classes might be, a phone call away, and then I encourage you to talk to your teen and figure out, okay, what are we going to do? Find out kind of what's going on. And we all know your teens might really, share a lot. Your teens might just brush it off. It could be anything in between, depending on your relationship, depending on how much your teen even likes that teacher, likes that class, cares about school. All these things can happen. And I got to tell you that your teen might say it's the teacher's fault, that this teacher's mean, or I can't understand the teacher, or the teacher goes too fast, or, it's just a teaching style issue. Like, there's so many things our teens can say about teachers being the reason they're failing. And I've heard it all before as a tutor. But I got to tell you, the secret here is that your teen can learn from any teacher. No matter if you've got a 7th grader, no matter if you've got a kiddo getting ready to graduate college, your child can learn from any teacher. No matter how they teach, no matter if they're just talkers, no matter if they're, here's the book, figure it out teachers, no matter if they're get up and we're going to do stations every day teachers, okay? Do know your teen has to know how he learns in order to adapt, okay? If your child doesn't have those study skills, doesn't know how he learns how to personalize his learning, that means when the teacher's talking and your teen's not auditory, your teen doesn't know what to do, okay? We have to teach your teen these study skills, personalize them to your teen's individual preferences and learning styles. And that's what I do. So, do you know our goal here, when we're talking about bad emails, bad calls, is we do not want those. Like, we don't ever want to get that email from a teacher saying your teen's failing. We don't ever want to get the phone call that says, I have some bad news. Okay, we don't ever want it to be related to grades, to academics. But do know, if you get the call, it's not the end of the world. It's just an opportunity to realize, okay, something's wrong, something's missing, something my teen needs help with. So start by grabbing that homework buster. It's for you, free in the description. It's awesome. 5 tips to bust your team's homework objections. So they're going to kind of walk you through those W's, who should do the homework, what homework, and it ties in some strategies for you, some thoughts from the teachers, as well as what study skills help your teen with each process, each step of getting that homework done. And if we haven't chatted yet, and you'd love to help your teen love to learn through some study skills, let's talk for a free consultation. There's a link in the bio so we can talk and figure out, okay, what is it that your teen's missing? How can I help your teen love to learn by teaching them how to learn? Thanks so much for being here, mamas. See you in the next video.